Evolution holds that dinosaurs evolved 220 million years ago and died about 65 million years ago from any of a number of possible extinction events.
Holy spangly Jesus testicles, that was a lot of words in a short time period. You know me, I like to interject my stupid points and bad jokes as often as inhumanly possible, but damn, looks like I'm going to have to be hard on that pause button today. Anyway, evolvy guys say that dinosaurs do an old and then did a dead, and it was 'cause of stuff, probably. Okay, I guess. I mean, evolution doesn't technically hold anything. It's a theory, and they don't usually have hands. But the theory certainly seems to support what you just said, mostly 'cause of that little thing called evidence. Good start.
But the Bible teaches that all land animals, including dinosaurs, were created on the sixth day of creation.
The Bible does teach a lot of really stupid things, but it doesn't say anything about dinosaurs. Like, at all. And no matter how your sort love to justify it as, wow, they couldn't include every animal in the Bible. God made so many of them, so some just weren't important. The gigantic fucking monsters that would have been able to swallow a man whole seem to be something that someone, somewhere, might have felt the desire to bring up at least a few zillion times. Strangely, what tends to be brought up is animals native to that region at the time they would have been native to that specific region, and anything that might have been tamed by people and brought to wherever. Not one of them a dinosaur. And let's be frank, if they were about, there's no way some badass isn't riding into town on one of those bad boys whilst he's out on the pull.
Just thousands of years ago, and they were all named by Adam just before God handed over his completed creation to Adam and Eve.
All named by Adam? That's hilarious. No, genuinely one of the funniest things of the Bible when you think about it for more than a split second. Because you'll realise what an absolutely absurd claim that is. One man sat down and apparently named something like 8.7 million different species of creature. I don't know about you, but I consider myself pretty creative, especially when it comes to insults. But after about 30 or 40 different names for animals, I'm pretty sure I'm going to hit a hard wall and start just calling things like dog 2 or tall horse or water butler. Yeah, that's just not happening, you god-gobbing fart for brains.
Charging them to take dominion over his completed creation.
Hey, you there. Things that I just made, and made completely unaware of basically anything, and extremely gullible to boot. I'm going to leave you here with all of my nice stuff, but if I come back and you've broken anything, I'm going to punish you and everyone you've ever known forever. A completely reasonable request from a reasonable person, I'm sure you will all agree, and not the sort of demands of a deranged narcissist. No.
Then, about 4,300 years ago, the entire world was deluged by Noah's flood.
You see, here's the thing. Shit like that is exactly why we know that the Bible is not an accurate record of history. Remember that evidence thing that we used to figure shit out about the dinosaurs? Giant land monsters that roamed the earth, which is honestly kind of a wild story, especially when compared to just a really big flood. But really big flood didn't leave any evidence, but the dinosaurs did. Things that actually happened have this weird habit of doing that.
And the dinosaurs, along with billions of other creatures, were wiped out.
Again, the Bible doesn't say dick about the dinosaurs. That's just you attempting to make it sound like the Bible talks about them, but it just doesn't. Even the things that people claim to be about one dinosaur or another are basically, definitely, just some large local animal to whatever area with a poor, somewhat flowery, and very inaccurate description.
Let's take a quick look at some evidences that show that the biblical account might actually be true.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing how a thing that was never once mentioned in the Bible was definitely in the Bible because of some shit that totally does not prove anything in the Bible, and at best proves something else, or at worst proves absolutely nothing at all. Can't wait.
First, dinosaurs are cleverly designed.
Wait, what? Dinosaurs are cleverly designed, therefore there was a worldwide flood 4,000 years ago because God had a tantrum about the fact that the thing that he made with his perfection powers of being perfect didn't turn out like he wanted. Okay, but first off, there's no evidence at all that dinosaurs were designed, let alone cleverly, mostly because they didn't need to be. Second, Why make dinosaurs only to wipe them out before anyone noticed they were there, except Adam, apparently, who probably called them something like Lizard 1198 and really, really, really tall horse? And third, what the fuck does anything having existed in any way have on geological events, apart from humans, and even they aren't that good at it yet?
Consider this Triceratops. Its 2,000-pound head is mounted in a way that allows it to turn every which way.
Consider evolution, a process that could, and in fact does, form creatures that, work. It would be super weird if it didn't. In fact, it just wouldn't be the thing that we thought caused pretty much anything. That's kind of how it works. Now consider a creator being that made everything specifically for us and then randomly wipes them all out and leaves no record in relation to them in his own creation story whatsoever. It would be super weird if he decided to make and kill dinosaurs for no reason.
Yet still be strong enough to ram something, even while running.
There's a joke in there about ramming things like, say, this entire video up your backside, but I'm not going to make such a crude joke. And if you think I would do such a thing, well, you can take your video and you can ram it up your ass.
What about massive sauropods with weight-bearing systems from hip to toe that allow its 200,000-pound body to even walk?
Again, we have an explanation for basically every possible set of features that could be in any creature. And it doesn't evolve because some guy thought it would be clever or funny or really impress the locals. And the fact that it has these features and was able to do an alive and get on with its life is entirely consistent with evolution and natural selection working as expected. It would be really bizarre if it didn't.
And neck vertebrae that are 90% filled with air so it can lift up its head.
That would explain why creationists are able to raise their head so high above the rest of us, often with extremely smug expressions on their faces, even though they have skulls thicker than 2 short planks glued together with pig shit. It's all the air in the middle allowing them not to get weighed down with all that useless brain matter.
Next, there's the absence of dinosaur ancestors and transitions.
Okay, giving you the benefit of the doubt and me the benefit of being too lazy to check, assuming that's true, so f***ing what? Like seriously, we don't need transitions of every single animal to see that so many of them do have transitions. And the only reasonable inference is that they all did. And again, if true, yeah, really, really old things get rarer and rarer, harder and harder to find the further back we go. The Earth is a turbulent mistress and has a habit of doing a catastrophe every so often, so shit's probably way harder to find. But that doesn't mean you would suddenly get to fill that apparent knowledge gap with whatever story you just so happen to make up, that also, mind you, doesn't have any ancient proof for it either.
Even the Chicago Field Museum sign admits there have been 0 transitions between dinosaur kinds.
A single museum, of course. The entirety of our knowledge on every subject ever is relegated to singular museums. That's how that works, and there certainly isn't infinitely more in-depth information on those subjects, or that those places ever become out of date, or many other reasons that they might not display the full picture. Because, well, lazy as I am, I did check out and immediately found out that indeed there are transitional forms of dinosaurs. So, of course, this is either just totally out of date or a blatant lie. Probably a little bit of both. You know how Bible literalists are.
It shows question marks regarding where they came from. It's almost like someone just put each basic kind on Earth right at the same time.
No, it's nothing like that. It's like they don't have those traditional fossils, even though they do, and any conclusions you could come to based off that information should be based on the information that you do have, aka animals evolve. So the dinosaurs probably did too, even if we can't see it in the record. And any other kind of conclusion would definitely need different evidence to show that, no, actually this completely different thing happened with them. Otherwise, you are just making shit up.
There are even dinosaur design features that show they lived in the ideal pre-flood world.
Ideal pre-flood world? What are you talking about? We already know that no flood happened, so how the hell do you know anything about a world that was apparently different from now. I mean, shit, if we had pre-flood world evidence that dated back to your timeline, then you might have something. But no, 4,000 years ago is not that much different from 4,500 or 3,500, because a few hundred years either way makes very little difference in a geological time span. So this is just you making up more shit.
Sauropods can exceed 200,000 pounds, yet they have tiny nostrils for breathing.
Oh hey, just like me, but that's why I use my arse to breathe instead. It's much bigger than my nose. Then that gets freed up for drinking whiskey with straws and eating donuts with my ears. My mouth, though, I save that for much more, let's say, discreet applications. Take that, society.
Pterodactyls may have been too heavy to fly in today's atmosphere. Same with huge pre-flood dragonflies.
Right, okay, but even if that's true, millions of years ago, the world was kinda different to the way it is today. Magic Skyman do magic flood cause mad, which changed literally everything about the planet for no reason, whilst leaving not a trace of its passing. Well, it really is just another so f***ing what, isn't it?
The fossil record is filled with giant creatures and plants.
There's also smaller versions of things in the past, but we will ignore those because reasons. But you can't just say that the fossil record has things in it that prove my point and just ignore all the things that go against it. You know, like how evolution is a thing. That for some reason the big brain smart guys of forever ago didn't know about, and for some other reason the guy they invented to explain all of the things also didn't know about it and pretty much only had knowledge available at the time of writing. And often got a lot of that shit wrong too, for some reason. Almost like they didn't really know what the hell they were talking about.
We know this because there are billions of dead things buried in rock layers laid down by water all over the earth.
Laid down by what now? I mean, they can be laid down by water, but they certainly aren't all laid down by water. And I'll tell you this for now, not all at the same time, as I know that's what you think, but that simply is not how that works.
And when we look at the dinosaur fossil record, we see that they were buried furiously, rapidly, and simultaneously, oftentimes found fleeing in groups.
All at the same time, huh? That seems extremely unlikely, as the dinosaurs existed in the Mesozoic era, which is the best part of a couple of 100 million years. It's a time so vast it's divided into 3 distinct time periods, those being Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous. And frankly, this stuff didn't come out of nowhere. We know these periods happened, again, because proof. And yet this nearby time period that your lot seems so sure of, the only reason anyone thinks that happened is because of a random book of lies. It's not exactly what I would call convincing, mate.
Take this massive bone bed in Hilda, Canada.
But I don't want a massive bone bed in Hilda, Canada. I already have a massive bone bed, if you know what I mean. Isn't that right, Mrs. Sick? It's only for guests, so they don't bone. It's kind of ironic when you think about it.
Thousands of centrosaurs were catastrophically buried over an entire square mile.
The thing is, that is actually evidence of a flood. But square mile. Now, I don't know if you know this, but a square mile is slightly bigger than the entire f***ing planet. And yet, you have just that, and maybe a couple of other examples of floods, perhaps. But you know that floods happen. We expect to find them. But your claim is Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is an awesome movie, but it's not even close to how the vast majority of the dino lads died out. And you don't get to claim floods that happened millions of years ago as the one you think that happened 5 minutes ago. That's not how this works.
Or this one in China, where thousands of different kinds of dinosaurs were simultaneously buried in a single 980-foot long ravine.
Do you know what ravines typically are? They are places where water goes, where water is expected to go. So to find a bunch of animals washed into one is expected to happen from time to time. Again, not proof of anything other than, well, water and dinosaurs existed at the same time. Well done, but we already knew that. Cool.
There are hundreds of dinosaur bone beds all over the world, including the US, where the Morrison Formation covers 13 states and 700,000 square miles.
And what do the people who actually bothered to learn anything about paleontology or geology say about those different things? In fact, who exactly found them? Was it creation scientists? Or was it, real scientists? That's the thing about you guys. You never seem to find or figure out, well, frickin' anything. You just take other people's discoveries and pretend that they support your claims without even the smallest amount of effort to demonstrate if that's actually true.
Thousands of torn-apart dinosaurs are buried here in hundreds of mass graves, with many found in the classic death pose with their necks arched back, choking as they died.
Oh, I just love that. That's like preschool tier kind of thinking that can only be done by an adult human that thinks the Bible is 100% true. They had their heads back, and that mean choking in water caused me smart. But a lot of those dinosaurs wouldn't have even been able to move like that while they were still alive. It's actually believed that that's an effect of ligaments contracting after death. Christ, you guys just think that whatever it looks like with the most basic of inspection, that must be what it is. I'm surprised you aren't bloody flat earthers. Ugh.
Museum signs everywhere even admit they died in a watery catastrophe.
Some of them, sure, but again, floods are a thing. You know that, right? They happen all the time. And in the forever ago, there was literally nothing put in place to stop them. Dinosaurs not known for their large-scale engineering feats, or even understandings of weather patterns. So I'm sure tons of them died in floods. But a shitload of them didn't die in floods. Many of them millions of years after many of these catastrophes. I wonder how they did that. Must be because Skyman do it.
Some dinosaurs are even found mummified, with tree leaves, flowers, ferns, shrubs, and algae still in their stomach.
Oh my god, no they haven't. There's no such thing as a mummified dinosaurs. Dinosaurs couldn't even make their own beds, let alone have the skill or dexterity to perform ancient burial rites. Dinosaur mummies is just something people use to describe an extremely well-preserved dinosaur fossil. And I don't know if you know this, but fossils aren't fucking mummies.
Dinosaurs are even found buried with marine creatures. Isn't a global flood the best explanation for this?
No, the best explanation for it is that dinosaurs existed for hundreds of millions of years and got themselves into all sorts of stupid situations where they died because they were f***ing animals. And all animals, humans included, die in all sorts of ways all the time. The only thing that doesn't seem to die is idiotic ideas like the world was flooded by God, or even worse, that dinosaurs were anywhere in the f***ing Bible.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the